So we talked about Ariana Grande the other day. I used Chelsea Fagan's video as the example. I did not appreciate the way she called and insinuated that Ariana Grande is an animal. It's like watching an animal at a zoo. I did not like the way Chelsea Fagan talked about how it might be unethical to buy tickets to Ariana's concerts because Ariana knows what she's doing. I think if you're sick, you deserve to work. If you would like to work, I think if you're sick, you deserve to be seen in public. I do not think sick people should be hidden away. Chelsea Fagan's video was titled something like "The Problem with Choice Feminism," and basically said that her intellect will not be challenged, or will not be, she will not be tricked because of her common sense. She knows Ariana's sick. And I'm just saying that the implication of this conversation extends past Ariana. And the implication is now, if you are suffering, if you are sick, you should be hidden away. No one should see you because of the quote influence. Like, there's so many layers to that I just didn't like. And a lot of people kept titling their videos like the Ariana Grande conversation they won't let us have. For a conversation you guys are not allowed to have, everybody is having the conversation. Chelsea even insinuated or said that the interviewers should have asked Ariana about her body during interviews. And I'm like, aren't we trying to get away from that? So I just really don't like where Chelsea Fagan came from in that video, and I think it was wrong. I think if the video was done differently, I would have had a different opinion. So for all the people who said you misunderstood Chelsea, I don't think so. Because, but I did reach out to Chelsea if she would like to discuss her hot takes recently, from buying a second house in France to Ariana. Great. If she doesn't get back to me, also respectful. I get it. But hopefully she reaches out and we can do a collaboration, because maybe I am misunderstanding Chelsea, but I guess I'll never know unless she clarifies, right? So this new person came up on my feed called Kayla Says, and the title is, I don't think anyone is right about Ariana. And based on the comments, I think they're more on my side of framework and thinking. So let's see, let's have a conversation. And also to anyone with eating disorders who feels like I'm not doing a good job about talking about them, of course that is true. Call me out about it, and recognize that this conversation is more about eating, more than just eating disorders. Like, in a way, like, it is about the way we look at people who are sick. This is about ableism as well. So I need people to recognize that, because I don't know if people with eating disorders, you guys can tell me, do you understand, like, do you see the intersection between mental health, physical health, and ableism, and how people are, you know what I mean? So you can let me know. But here we go.
Okay, so I did talk about this a couple months ago, late last year, when the Wicked Press Tour was still going on. I talked about this exact topic. I made a video about it. If you haven't seen it, it'll be linked in the description down below so you can check it out, because I stand...
Yeah, this title, I don't like it either. Ariana Grande and Cynthia scare me a little. I don't like that either. I don't know who said that. I don't think she said it. I'm sure it's a quote, but I hate this idea. Chelsea also said Ariana's body is like scary or frightening. Like, it literally... I could see if my mental health was in a worse place, that could cause me to self-harm. I could see if I saw a woman I respected on the internet make a video saying that my body was scary to her while I was suffering. If I was a 22-year-old Brittany, I could see that causing me to self-harm. Thank goodness I'm a 37-year-old Brittany, so I'm good. But imagine all the young girlies who are hearing that.
And by everything I said in it. I talked about the nuances surrounding public figures who have eating disorders or body image issues. I included experiences and perspectives from people who have dealt with eating disorders in both the medical and mental health field. I think it's a good video. I watched it recently. Everything I said in there holds up. This is not me going back.
I love that, because as a creator too, like, sometimes I have to go back and watch a video and see how much of what I said at the time was good or not good. Some videos I'm like, oh, I did great here. And then sometimes I'm like, that's not it. So just, if my videos are older than 3 months, there's probably been an update in how I talk or what I'm saying. So just ask for clarification if you guys have questions.
Anything that I've said previously. However, obviously there has been a lot of new conversation surrounding Ariana Grande since her tour kicked off. People have been asking me about it. I'm here today to give my updated singular thoughts.
Okay.
And this will probably come off a bit more personal than the last.
This is a pretty short video, so I'm excited. I think she's really gonna get to the point.
Video, and honestly, that's fine. They serve different purposes for different context within the moment. That being said, quick trigger warning for anyone who has experienced an eating disorder or body image issues. We are going to be discussing those topics at length during this video. I also may have to censor a couple different words and images. That's just YouTube's policies. Don't worry about it. Thanks so much. Let's get into it. So Ariana kicked off her Eternal Sunshine tour earlier this month, and obviously this is the first time she's really been seen in the public eye since the Wicked Press tour, and a lot of folks have been commenting on her appearance and her ability, or perhaps inability, to perform. You don't need a PhD in rocket science to understand that Ariana does not look well. Whether it's an eating disorder, an illness, or some other kind of issue, it is clear that she is struggling with something, and this has been the talk of the town for well over a year. And yet for some reason, everyone is insisting that we're not allowed to talk about it.
We aren't commenting on Ariana Grande's body. We are calling out the fact that if something doesn't change, she is going to.
I've seen so many videos where people are saying that we shouldn't comment on Ariana Grande's body because it's going to hurt her. It's not helping her. It's not going to fix her. And if anything, it's going to make her problems worse to have so many people giving their opinion and clearly stating that there's something wrong.
You are not morally superior when it comes to, we don't talk about people's bodies. Yes, we do. Especially when they look like this. The whole body positivity movement has gone quite the opposite way from which it originated and the way it was supposed to go, when we decide that not talking about bodies when they look like this is being positive.
Am I allowed to talk about it yet? Like, are we allowed to talk about it yet?
Are we or are we not allowed to talk about Ariana Grande's body? This is the great debate that is taking over the internet, and honestly, I do see both sides of the argument.
What if it's not an ED? What if it's not an ED? What if everyone is just assuming that it's an ED and there's actually something medically wrong with her?
No, I think some of this comes from.
Isn't an ED something medically wrong? Like, isn't an ED a part of mental health? The insinuation that Chelsea Fagan called it choice feminism, as if having an eating disorder is a choice. Like, that sounds like someone saying addiction is a choice. You know, addiction is a choice. Like, guys, am I confused? Isn't an eating disorder? You know what I'm saying? It's like saying depression is a choice. Is it a choice? Like, when did we go back to saying these things are choices?
Residual earlier talking points surrounding the beginning of the Wicked Press tour. Also, everyone was sort of fresh off the heels of the Chadwick Boseman situation that rightfully made them reconsider how we discuss people's bodies and illness publicly. But obviously things have progressed since then. The press tour is over and Ariana still looks really thin, while Cynthia seems to have changed her body a bit. More people started looking into a pro-Anna Tumblr account that allegedly belonged to Ariana, which kind of puts this whole situation into a new context.
First thing I learned, being skinny isn't the most important thing in the world. Being happy is. Happiness comes from self-love and learning to accept yourself no matter what. Okay. Excuse me. Hannah, nourish your body and nourish your soul. Ariana, nourish your body and nourish your soul. Wait.
Ariana still looks really thin, while Cynthia seems to have changed her body a bit. More people started looking.
Okay, reblogged by Ariana Princess. So here's a really long blog about a bunch of things. My mind kind of wandered while I was writing it, but I feel like the points are in here are all kind of important. So I'm sorry if it's disorganized. No matter how many calories I eat, I still don't lose weight. I saw somebody say this on Tumblr and was inspired to share. So is this is an Ariana reblogged this. So isn't this saying the opposite?
Looking into a pro-Anna Tumblr account that allegedly belonged to Ariana, which kind of puts this whole situation into.
But it's saying, first thing I learned is being skinny isn't the most important thing in the world. Being happy is. Happiness comes from self-love and learning to accept yourself no matter what, no matter how your body looks in the moment. Isn't this good? Am I confused? Even my boyfriend prefers it now. My point is, we all have things we're insecure about. It's normal. But in the big picture, those little quirks and things are what make you you. If we wait until we're perfect before we love ourselves, we will waste our whole lives away. You're already perfect right here and right now. Am I confused? I know what you're saying. I can't love myself. I hate myself. I hate my body and so on. I'm a 19-year-old girl. I'm my worst critic. I know. But next time, before you beat yourself up or hate on yourself, remember that you're lucky enough to be living on this beautiful planet. Be grateful to be alive. Is this not good? Whether she wrote it or reblogged it, isn't this anti-anorexia? Isn't this saying like your value doesn't come from your skinniness?
To a new context a bit more. Also, quick note about the Anna Tumblr, because I do think that playing it back a bit, it does need more context. This is an account that surfaced a while back. I only saw it via the Wayback Machine. That's how I was able to like show you a screenshot of a post on there. It doesn't currently exist in its like previous format. Most people speculated that Ariana had this account when she was around 19 years old and she would talk about diet strategies. It wasn't necessarily explicitly pro-Anna, like it doesn't have a lot of signifiers in terms of the pro-Anna.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I say it's none of my business. Because you don't know. This is so parasocial to me. We do not know. It's none of our business. We should be talking about eating disorders, resources, community efforts. We should be giving people resources. If we do not know, we're not sure, there's a lot of speculation, who cares? What does this have to do with anything? This is why I'm saying you fake concerned about Ariana. You should be focused on movements that help people with disorders. You should be focusing on organizing and donating money. Like, why are we talking about Ariana Grande? This is what I'm saying. You guys are fake concerned.
And a community. It doesn't seem very deliberate to me, just from what I've seen of it, the remnants I've seen via archives. Sorry, I'm just trying to be as clear as I can here. When I say that this—
And yes, chat, I am aware that Ariana has spoken in the past about having an ED. It just doesn't matter if she has one. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if Ariana Grande has an eating disorder. It's not our business. It's none of your business what I am diagnosed with. It is none of your— if I share, you're welcome. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not our business. It's not your business. You cannot weaponize it against people. I just read you this comment at the beginning of the stream of somebody trying to weaponize my diagnosis. You're lucky I even shared it with you to help people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not your business what people are sick from. It's not your business what people have struggled with. If they're sharing it with you, take that for what it is, but this isn't our business. If you want to help people with eating disorders, this is what I mean, right? Like, it doesn't matter if we know she's sick or not. It's none of our business. If you're worried about people with eating disorders, be worried for people in general. Don't pretend like these TikToks that were like, oh, but Ariana could die. Honey, we're all dying. Children are being genocided right now in Palestine. Talk about them. You know what I mean? Talk about them. There's so many people we could talk to. There's so many people we could have conversations with. There's so many things we could be advocating for. It just feels like the wrong way to have this conversation, you know? But I appreciate chat. You're doing great. But I'm trying to like, I don't even know why I'm having— you know what? Listen, I'm having this conversation now because I'm sick of the way people are having the conversation. But I did not make Ariana content because I didn't want to. When Kelly Osbourne showed up, I made content about people making content about it because I was like, why are you making content about this? Stop talking about these women. And these women have come out. Kelly Osbourne came out and said, please stop talking about my body. My dad just died. I'm going through it. And I was like, stop talking about this woman's body. Because again, it's just bullying. It's just weird obsession with her body. Like, you were body checking her while blaming her for having an eating disorder or blaming women for going through suffering. It's so weird. You're being so weird. Not you, chat, but like the internet's being so weird.
Blog wasn't explicitly pro-Anna. I mean it in the sense that she wasn't hashtagging her posts with like hashtag Anna or anything that she signified directly that she belonged to that community. That doesn't necessarily mean that the blog wasn't Anna coded. It's not as brazen as some of the more modern day ED accounts that you see on Tumblr and Twitter currently, for example, but it does have, you know, described habits of a person who is—
okay, so then it's not even a completely obviously pro-Anna post. People are doing too much. And that's why I'm disappointed in Chelsea Fagan. You're a grown-ass woman going after this woman with no care or compassion while calling it love. Yeah, that's disappointing to see. I thought we were past this. When we say don't talk about women's bodies, we're saying exactly this. Don't tear apart a woman. Go into all of her posts. Go into all these details. So we're not even finding the proper information. It's not like Ariana is getting on stage and saying like Anna for life. She's literally just performing. And now you could say, but Brittany, she's in a position of power. She's like, she knows she's influencing people. What do you want her to do? Would you like her to never perform unless she is recovered? What if she never recovers? What if she's sick her whole life? Do you want her to never perform again? Some people were like, Brittany, Ariana's rich. She doesn't have to perform again for money. Oh, God forbid the woman liked to sing. God forbid she actually just likes to sing. Celine Dion loves singing so much that when she had her throat problem, it was mentally devastating for her to not be able to perform. I think you guys forget that Ariana can sing. This woman probably just likes her job. So yes, maybe she's not doing it for money, or maybe she is. I don't know. I don't know her. But the implication is, if I'm a person with an eating disorder, what I'm hearing is I'm not allowed to perform. Or if I'm somebody sick or disabled, I'm not allowed to perform because I don't look good or because I might influence people to what? That's like saying, you remember when that book came out? What was that book? John Green's book, Fault in Our Stars. And all the girlies were like, I kind of wish I was sick because like the main character's sick and she gets all this attention. Women with cancer can't exist on the internet. Girls with cancer can't exist because some girls want to fantasize about being sick. Do you know what I'm saying? We should be talking to our young girls about like everyone is attention seeking. Make sure you're seeking the right attention, but people deserve to be sick in public. You know what I mean? That's it. People deserve to be sick in public.
definitely experienced some form of disordered eating. Similarly, there is an Instagram account that is rumored to have belonged to Ariana Grande and her friend Courtney, in which they allegedly described stealing people's men and made jokes about how little food they eat. Similarly, I believe that account is gone now, so I don't have like an exact like first-hand account of being able to view it, but there are sources out here that describe this kind of stuff in more detail. Just wanted to provide additional context.
And because she's touring right now, we do have direct comparisons of what she used to look like then versus what she looks like.
This is, you know, again, a different era of someone's life. People go through stages. You know, I've gone through much bigger stages, much thinner stages. All of them are a reflection of my life. But like, this would make me feel, I just wouldn't want this to happen to me. So I don't know why you're doing it to Ariana. Look, I would love it if somebody would make a good critique of my content. I am waiting for somebody to make videos about me the way I make videos about creators, but nobody ever does. Okay, I'm waiting for it, girl. Would somebody in good faith critique my work, please, and be serious and be an actual content creator, not a somebody random who just wants attention, but actually like somebody who has a career, you know? I would be mortified if somebody made videos like this about me. I'd be mortified if Chelsea Fagan made a video about me, about my body, and talking about my body. Like, that is not the content I want to see from the girls, the gays and the theys. Okay, I don't want to see people making videos about our health problems. I want to see people making videos about our ideas, critiquing our beliefs, questioning our, you know, whatever frameworks about our philosophies. This is not what I want.
Currently, the evidence is there and the taboo has mostly lifted. People are talking about it.
But there's something about this conversation that has been really bothering me, and it's the fact that eating disorders are diseases, and having a disease is morally neutral.
I can tell you firsthand that it is really tough to navigate
Exactly, it's morally neutral to be sick.
the world as a woman right now when so much scrutiny.
Keep in mind, conservatives think your sickness is a choice. That's why they don't want to give you international or national health care. Do you know conservatives think obesity, they're like, I don't want to pay for health care for somebody who's fat or smokes because you got cancer on purpose. Conservatives say that in their media. They'll say, oh, you got lung cancer because you smoked all those years. I don't have to pay for your health insurance. Oh, you ate too much food. Oh, you're skinny. You have anorexia. This is what I'm saying. Being sick and going through struggle is neutral. It's morally neutral. When you start moralizing these things, that's when the community starts to decide you don't deserve help because they think it's a choice. That's what I'm saying.
Is constantly put on our bodies, especially in the era of Ozempic, and how it has recontextualized fitness and thinness.
Okay, chat says, hold on. Chat says, well, Aria is sick, is allowed to exist. How can we help young girls not internalize skinny culture and not dehumanize celebrities? When they come home and ask you questions, make sure you're not being fatphobic when they hear you speak. Make sure your friends and you aren't laughing at fat people's existence. Make sure you're not sitting here saying, oh, she's so much prettier now that she's lost 15 pounds. Watch your mouth. Watch how you compliment people. One time, I had gotten heavier, and my sister, who never notices these things, didn't notice I had gotten heavier. And one of her friends had seen me, okay? Then, a while later, like a year or so later, her friend sees me again, and I'm wearing a hoodie, and I get off the couch, and I take off my hoodie, and I had lost, like, a significant amount of weight. And her friend goes like this, guys. She screams, and my sister and I go like this, and she goes, oh my God, you look so different. I was just shocked. And my sister goes, does she look different? I don't know. My sister just looks the same to me. To this day, my sister just thinks I always look the same. She never notices the fluctuations in my body or how I look, or she never even like, it just, you know what I mean? But her friend was so audibly loud, literally screamed. And my sister was like, I can't believe the way people react to your body. I'm saying, watch your fucking mouth. It's you. It's all of us. We're the problem. It's the way my fatphobic ass used to talk about fat people. It's the way we'd make jokes about people. It's even saying things that fat people are so much funnier. It's because you think being fat is funny. Listen, it took a lot for me to deconstruct fatness. It took a lot for me to deconstruct. I internalized that shit. I never had an eating disorder, but I always thought I was more valuable if I was thinner because that's the community I was raised in. And it came from family and friends. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, the tabloids, yes, the media, yes, but it's also your mothers and fathers. It's also your friends. It's also the people you reward. That's also the way people talk about who you're dating. It's also dating apps. It's you too. The most progressive people I know still say, is it okay that I don't want to date fat people? Deconstruct your fat phobia instead of attacking Ariana Grande and saying she shouldn't work because she's sick. Ask yourself, what led to this position and how do I speak on behalf of people as a community? That's how I would do it.
and what should be an acceptable or attainable standard. And so I understand people's frustration with one of the biggest pop stars in the world looking the way she does on the world stage, because like it or not, she does have influence, and anorexia is a social disease, meaning that modeling certain behaviors can very much influence other vulnerable groups of people.
I think it's deeper than that for a lot of people. I think people forget that people also lose weight because they're mourning. I know a lot of people who lose a significant amount of weight because their child died. So is it anorexia or did your child die? This is why I say we don't always know what it is. Is she going through a breakup? Did a parent die? Did a life change happen? Did she get GERD? Does she have a food sensitivity? I know so many autistic people that are severely underweight because they can't eat anything. It's not always about trying to look skinny. Sometimes it really is so much deeper than that. And I promise you, you don't know what's happening in people's lives. And it's really fucked up to assume. And you are doing it with Ariana because you feel entitled. You feel like you know her. That's the toxicity of parasociality. So when Chelsea Fagan says, my intellect will not be insulted, I'm saying, how dare you assume you understand this woman's life who is a stranger to you? You do not know what's going on in her life. And I think it's really fucking unethical to pretend we do. We do not know. God forbid I go through something and I lose weight and all of you decide to make hit pieces on me when I didn't want to share that somebody in my life died. I am terrified of that. I think of that all the time. What if I lose somebody and my weight fluctuates and my chat won't believe me? That would feel so terrible to me, to think that you guys wouldn't believe me when I tell you I don't have an eating disorder, I'm going through something. That's how I look at Ariana. I don't know her. I don't know what she's going through. It's not my business. I hope she's, okay. I hope she lives a long and healthy life. I wish we would stop talking about like we know what's going on in people's lives.
And yes, people are right that commenting on how thin Ariana looks is actually motivation for people who struggle with eating disorders. They seek out that kind of feedback, and maybe Ariana does too.
Something else I wanted to mention here is also the fact that there are a couple of mystical elements in the discussion surrounding Ariana Grande, and what I mean by that is that a lot of the speculation surrounding her mental state and her physical state are quite literally not grounded in reality. Because sometimes the truth that we can all see in front of our faces with our own eyeballs is inherently less interesting, so people feel the need to elevate it with armchair psychology bullshit nonsense.
If you're confused by what I mean here, I have a couple of different examples. There have been people in the comment sections of these videos of her performing, and they're insisting that Ariana is dying, that she wants to be with Mac, meaning Mac Miller, and that this is her goodbye tour. That's a wild thing to say about a living, breathing human being. Or the fact that Ariana hired a plus-sized backup dancer named Amanda LeCount. I've been following Amanda on social media for a while now, and she's toured with a bunch of different artists, but people are saying that Ariana, hired her to make herself look thinner in comparison, I guess.
Oh my God,
you guys
she's
know
good.
that you're talking about a human being, right? And not a force ghost or an anime villain. It's the same with the Illuminati ritual stuff that I've talked about before. I think this subject matter typically makes people very uncomfortable, and so they feel the need to retreat into almost this supernatural explanation for what's happening.
I mean, the weirdest thing is now they're focusing on this woman's weight. So now this dancer who's so skilled and so talented, who got hired for her skill and talent, all you're pointing out is that she's fat? You're so fucking weird. The internet is the most disgusting place. This is what I'm saying. The world is a reflection of us as a whole. The world is a reflection of us as a whole. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? God forbid the woman's just talented. God forbid she's just good at dancing.
Happening here, when in reality Ariana is dealing with a very human problem. I think it almost does a 180 where all of this weird conspiracy stuff morphs into people romanticizing her as some sort of tragic figure, as if they are trying to martyr her while she is still alive. And I also think that's counterintuitive, especially when a lot of eating disorders are relatively well researched and there are resources regarding them that you could do your own research around and understand that a lot of the habits or behaviors that you're picking up on as weird or spooky or almost supernatural can be explained via professionals who have dealt with this sort of thing.
And I get that people want accountability for this, right? Because it can be straight up triggering to witness something like this out in the open and see the downstream effects that it will have on her fans and young impressionable girls. But I also don't think that you can really hold Ariana Grande accountable for this without also rooting for her to get better. And people have a hard time understanding this because the internet has pretty much eroded our capacity for basic empathy.
I'm not saying you have to like Ariana Grande as a person. A lot of people don't, and that's their prerogative. But I don't understand what being unnecessarily cruel to her really accomplishes, because like I said, if you look—
And look, I know people were really confused. We absolutely can talk about eating disorders. We absolutely can talk about mental health. We absolutely can talk about fat phobia. We absolutely can talk about anything. We should talk about everything. But we don't have to center a person and pretend we're in their brain and read their minds and tear them apart. Like, we can talk about all of these problems. I know some people in my last video thought I was saying like we can't talk about it. Of course we can talk. We're talking about it right now. I'm saying we don't have to talk about it the way we're talking. The way we're talking about it matters, right? Don't we say this about sexual assault or rape or anything else? That the way you talk about women's bodies matters. The way you talk about consent. Oh, she looked like she wanted it. Look at the way she was dressing. Like, you could just tell. You could read her mind. The way she was walking, she wanted me. That's what you're doing. That's literally what you're doing. And that's why I'm not getting it. I can't believe we haven't figured out a better way to have this conversation. I can't believe this is like where we're still at in 2026, like girlies. I don't understand. Like, especially since, like, again, I chose not to cover this topic because I don't like talking about people's bodies. So I didn't talk about it. But now I feel like I have to because I hate the way y'all are talking about it. But I don't want to talk about this. This is not important. What's more important is infidelity and cheating and ethics and morals. Like, what's more important is not that people are sick, but why are people sick? It's not because Ariana Grande, eating disorders existed before Ariana Grande. She's just a victim. And so you're now pointing a finger at a victim and you're saying, oh, you're the reason more people have eating disorders. She's literally a victim of an eating disorder. It doesn't make sense.
Look at images of her and they make you upset and you want it to stop. That does sometimes require you to put your mature adult pants on and go, you know what? I hope someone in her circle steps in and I hope she gets better. Because what else can you really do besides go, why is nobody talking about how bad Ariana Grande looks when you know damn well that everyone can see it and that you're just looking for an easy dunk?
Exactly. And what do you mean? Why is no one talking about it? Everybody and their mother is talking about it. I'm sick of hearing it.
I find that cowardly, to be honest. Like, positioning yourself as morally superior to someone with an eating disorder says a lot more about you than it does about her. And if we're being real for a second, I can properly identify some of the reasons for this level of cruelty and animosity beyond Ariana being a homewrecker or perpetual.
Please, do I look like Ariana Grande here? If not, how long would it take till I get there? It has like almost no views, guys. Okay, yes, people suffer from eating disorders. Yes, they have body goals. Yes, it's a whole thing. But Ariana Grande didn't create eating disorders.
Infantilized or whatever. If you're chronically online, you've seen the way that some of these Ariana Stan accounts or these pro-Anna accounts behave and interact with other people. Some of them are straight up assholes, especially when they weaponize other people's weight or bully people for their appearance in defense of their fave. And it's hard not to view Ariana as an extension of that ecosystem because in a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being in the spotlight and exhibiting signs of a chronic social illness is not a good thing. But I also don't think it's fair to burden her with the online aspect of that reality as if she herself is the one posting plus-size people for thinspo. She's not doing—
Wait, I gotta hear that again.
In a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being in the spotlight and exhibiting signs of a chronic social illness is not a good thing.
Pause. Why? Why is it not a good thing?
Ariana as an extension of that ecosystem because in a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being
in the
spotlight and
being in the spotlight,
exhibiting signs of a chronic
social illness is not a good thing. Why is nobody hearing themselves when they speak? Would you like us to put her in the shed in the backyard? Would you like us to take all disabled people and put them in sheds? Why is nobody hearing what they say? Why is nobody listening to the words they are using? What is the finish line of this thought? Why do people keep saying these things?
But I also don't think it's fair to burden her with the online aspect of that reality as if she herself is the one posting plus-size people for thinspo. She's not doing that to our knowledge, but seeing it does make that rage indistinguishable, synonymous in fact. And that really is the problem here. A lot of our rage is indistinguishable. I am mad at the system and culture that forced a child star into feeling like she had no other path but to shrink herself to compete. I am mad that no social media platform has done its due diligence to step in and limit the ways in which these pro-Anna accounts run wild online. I am mad that parents—
Okay, chat says, do you really want a heroin addict front and center of TV ideally? I guess that's what she's saying. Are you saying a person suffering from heroin addiction is the same thing as a person suffering from an eating disorder? Do you think they're analogous? Do you think they're the same? They're not the same. They're not even remotely the fucking same. And also, a person who's suffering from addiction could still be and should be allowed to be employed and maybe should be on the front and center of things. I don't know. What is their relationship with their addiction? Many people suffer from addiction. You know how many of those late night hosts allegedly are addicted to alcohol and are drunk on set and nobody talks about it? You know how many people you see every day that you think you admire and they are suffering from addiction? How many people come out 10 years later and say, oh, I was high every day. I was literally coked up every fucking day. It doesn't matter. People get to work even if they're addicts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people get to work even if they have eating disorders. The question is, how does your addiction impact the people you work with and your community? So when we make these generalized statements, we have to be careful. Okay? This is like saying, you know, people think people with depression shouldn't have jobs or work with children, or people with BPD shouldn't work with kids. Why? People with autistic can't work with children. Why? Because people misunderstand, the general you misunderstands that not everyone's autistic experience is the same. Not everyone's addiction experience is the same. Not everyone's like, you know how many addicts I know that are amazing teachers? They're in, to be fair, recovery, but they literally are, you know, they call themselves addicts still. They become great educators. They became great people. Like, we cannot shun people away. We cannot say, because then just think about the negative stigma. You're not a bad person because you have an addiction. There's nothing, you are not a bad person because you have an addiction, period. I don't want to hear any, there's so much moralizing happening that like, oh, do you know they're an addict? So I'm not saying that's great. I'm saying, okay, you're suffering. How do we help you? Because you have to understand the moral implication of you're an addict implies that you are no longer worthy of existing. And I'm saying, no. I'm saying it's just an experience you're having. Let's figure it out. Being an addict doesn't mean you're inherently in any way anything. And I just don't like the implication that that means you are.
Never taught their kids to be kind, and the fear of not being skinny has been so ingrained in women for centuries that to be a daughter is to inherently want to be smaller. I am mad at all of it, but I don't find myself being mad at her.
No, here comes the nuance police. Yes, babe, because multiple things can be true at the same time. Ariana Grande looks sick, and Ariana Grande probably is sick, and Ariana Grande is saying that she's not sick, and we as a society have a problem with talking about women's bodies, and Anna is a social disease, and her fans are going to see her and be socially influenced by her skinniness. And people with a history of EDs like me are triggered by seeing pictures and discussion of her. And we need to try to prevent this from becoming normalized.
This TikTok from this creator, which I will also link in the description down below, probably has the best and most nuanced take that I've seen about this whole situation, and that is what this situation deserves: nuance. There is no right way to have a conversation about this on the internet. This is all of our first time out here operating in the world, you know what I mean? But I think a cardinal rule, and something that I think this creator did that was really good here, is just being kind. Because even if you don't like Ariana Grande, even if this whole situation frustrates you a lot, there are ways to tamper your
Chat said, I think the usual term is addict in remission. Okay, thank you.
Rhetoric to be more considerate about people online who struggle with eating disorders, because I don't think they need to hear over and over again that their behavior is a moral failing, in the same way that no one battling with addiction needs to hear over and over again that their own struggles are a moral failing. I don't think it's productive. I don't think it actually helps anyone who is struggling with this disease. And the worst thing about all of this is that if you want to be dark about it, if you want to martyr her while she is still alive, all of these people who have been snarking on her and being overtly cruel, not based on any of her actions.
Like, how embarrassing that Chelsea Fagan's in this category. That's what I'm saying. Somebody get through to Chelsea. Somebody say, Chelsea, you are in this category. You made a 40-minute video on how her body was scary, frightening, and like an animal in a zoo. This is what I'm saying. I am so disappointed in Chelsea for contributing to this conversation about women's bodies when we have been scrutinized and scrutinized and scrutinized. And I'm saying, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Well, Chelsea says because she didn't want to get new clothes, she took a GLP-1. This is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this is so weird that women who apparently are doing the most and engaging in feminism, this is why I say, like, your feminism cannot end and stop. It has to keep going and evolving into the future. We should not be talking about people's bodies this way. We should not be sitting here and justifying, you know, even Chelsea said, I don't care what you think about me using a GLP-1. Well, why are you making a video about Ariana then? Because Ariana doesn't care what you think either. Because you're not going to listen anyways. Like, it's so hurtful. It's so unnecessary. And look, her audience agreeing with her is just a reflection that they share a framework of ethics. It's not her audience agreeing with Chelsea because, you know, yes, maybe a part of it is like their fave. I think the only part of it that was their fave was them coming and attacking me in my comment sections because, like, why are you so mad at me for having a different opinion? Like, if you think I misread Chelsea, then tell Chelsea to collab with me and we'll clear the air, right? But that's not the problem. The problem isn't that you think I disagree with Chelsea. You don't understand that Chelsea is saying what she's saying because you don't want to believe she said what she said. But she is. She's contributing to all of these conversations. And I expect better of Chelsea because she's older and should know better. And she talks about eating struggles all the time and the problems. So like, again, I will clear the air. Collab with me. But at the end of the day, she's probably not going to, because every time Chelsea gets any criticism, she doubles down. Even though she says she grows from it. Are you sure? Because like, why are you making this video in 2026? Let's talk about it though. I know I sound harsh. I know it's my tone of voice sounds like I'm being meaner than I am, but I'm serious. You are too old and too wealthy and too privileged not to know better. And this is gross. Yeah, Chad says no new wardrobe, but 30,000 on travel. Like no new wardrobe, but $1 million house in France. So I'm going to take a GLP-1 because I don't want to lose the weight, or because I don't want to accept that I'm bigger. So you know what I'm saying? She wonders why Ariana has an eating disorder and is anorexic. Well, you're literally talking about getting a GLP-1 for 10 extra pounds or 20 extra pounds or whatever it was because you didn't feel good in your body. Well, Ariana doesn't feel good in hers. That's what I'm saying. How could you not be empathetic? Compassion means to suffer with. If I know there is a girl on Instagram that I respect as a workout girly, but I can't follow her Instagram because she triggers in my brain a desire to be thin, a thin that I will never, ever, ever attain because my natural big hips and big titties will never shrink down to her no titties, no ass. And so when I don't watch her Instagram because I refuse to be influenced by girls' natural predispositions as shameful as relation to mine. I love my body. I love my body. And sometimes I wish I had no titties because I kind of have like a gender expression, but I don't, and I never will unless I get rid of my boobs, okay? Or I bind. But the point is that I know not to look at her Instagram, not because she's a bad person for existing in the body that nature gave her, but because I know that somehow in my brain, the intrusive thoughts are, we could be this skinny, even though I know I could not be that skinny because that's not who I am, okay? The idea is like, I don't have to blame this woman for existing in her body because of the way my brain listens to the thoughts. Because I don't think I'm my brain. I don't think I'm my thoughts. I don't think any of us are our thoughts. I think thoughts come and go, but you know, you are more than your thoughts. You are more than your actions. You exist outside of these things. So again, I'm saying, hey, you know, let's have these conversations in a way that doesn't attack people for existing in flesh suits that they're trapped in.
Outside of what's going on with her body and her health. I'm not referring to any of the controversies that she's been in, to be clear, but the people snarking on her for, you know, what she looks like and what she might be struggling with are going to turn around and complain that they were never a part of that and that they themselves were never complicit in it, because nobody can ever take accountability for their own actions. Wanting a pop star to die, commenting on the fact that she looks like she's dying, and then turning around to discuss who's gonna play her. And
Chelsea Fagan literally said like, some people are going to have to start dying before you guys wake up. You are basically manifesting Ariana's death. I am manifesting a long life. May Ariana live 80 years, a great life. But when Chelsea Fagan gets up here and goes, people are going to have to start dying before you care, you're basically saying, I hope Ariana Grande dies. That's fucked up.
The post-mortem biopic is the philosophy of a sheltered person.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. To say, ooh, who should play Ariana in a movie when she dies is disgusting.
Turning around to discuss who's gonna play her in the post-mortem biopic is the philosophy of a sheltered person who spends too much time online and who is
no, because exactly, that's the problem. It's not just chronically online girlies who are sheltered. Because what is Chelsea Fagan then? What is Chelsea Fagan? A well-traveled, speaks multiple language, educated woman who got on the internet and basically said the same thing. So no, it's not just chronically online girlies. It's also people who exist. It's your mothers, it's your aunties, it's people when you come home and you hear people talking. It's the men in your neighborhood who say like, oh, what kind of women they like. You know what I mean? It's so much more.
Never had a friend or a family member deal with something hard and something real. And I think that's what this comes down to at the end of the day, if you remove the whole social influence piece of Ariana Grande's story. People don't know how to deal with things that are hard and things that are real. And the antidote to that is basic human empathy. Cruelty.
Yeah, and Chad said, I also don't think people realize you can dislike things about your body because of the issues you face with it and the problems that come with chronic illnesses and disabilities. And you not only can dislike certain things about your body, but you can also dislike certain things about your body and want to change them without it having to be about people. That's the other problem is like, I have deconstructed enough to know that if I ever got plastic surgery or if I do dye my hair a certain way, or if I buy certain clothes, it's for me versus other people. Chelsea's not there yet. Chelsea Fagan literally said, there's no such thing as doing things for yourself because you're doing it for other people. And I said, that's a you thing. I don't agree with that. That's like men saying women only wear makeup for men. No. Some of us are doing it for us. Some of you are doing it for men. That's why I say decenter men, decenter thinness, decenter patriarchy, decenter whiteness. Some of you are doing that for men. Some of us have done it for men. Some of us are doing it for us now. Some of us have done the work. And I'm saying you can do the work, girls. You can do it for you. And until you get there, you will never believe other people are doing it for other people because you wake up every day just wondering how other people see you, view you, like you, validate you. And I'm saying, Jesus Christ, we cannot live this way forever and then wonder how the world is the way that it is. All of us need to start living for our values, our community values. Like, we need to stop censoring these men and whether or not they think we're pretty, or these girls, whether or not they think we're cool. Like, come on now.
It does not have to be part of the philosophy of holding somebody accountable. You don't have to be mean to get your point across. But if you do feel that way, stand by it. Say that shit with your chest.
Thank you so much, you guys. Reminder, I have a reading channel and over...
Okay, great video. Let's see the comments. Never in my life have I witnessed so many people talking about something that nobody is talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Ariana Grande and the conversation we can have. It's like, really, bro? There were so many videos like, no one's allowing us to talk. Oh, Ariana is shrinking and everyone's pretending that it's not happening. What is this video? Everyone's pretending it's normal. Ariana is shrinking. Get the fuck off my recommended. What are you talking about? No one wants to have the conversation. Are we not having it because you're having it? I'm so annoyed with people for pretending that they're suffering. This is so like, oh my God, I'm being abused. And you're literally hitting your own fucking head. Stop it. Oh my God. Oh, no one's letting me do what I want. Stupid. It's so stupid, you know? Just says, how do we build community without centering others? And then how do we center people without losing ourselves by lifting others, if that makes sense? You center values. You center the dignity of people. You come together to uplift everybody. And you do it within reason. So we can't do it with 8 billion people. That's crazy. We can only do it in pockets, and those pockets all take care of each other. And you do it by being supportive and open and available. You let people come to you at their pace. I always tell my friends and family, hey, I love you. If you ever need anything, let me know. And I say it a lot and I say it often. And that allows them to know when they're instead of, hey, can you tell me about this? Like Sometimes I will bring it up and say, hey, we need to do sort of an intervention. I need to talk to you about something. It's serious. And sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll say, hey, I need to talk to you about something serious. When you're ready, get back to me. And I'll wait 6 months to hear back from somebody, but eventually they'll get back to me. Yeah, it's about being available, about listening, about actually caring about the person, like loving this person enough to also see what this person needs. The thing is, we don't know Ariana, so we don't know what she needs. That's why it's inappropriate. You don't know her. You can't give her what she needs. That's for people in her life. If she dies early, that was her story and it's none of your fucking business. You act like you're her family. You act like her mother or her family or her siblings. You act like, you know what I'm saying? How obnoxious of you to think you love her as much as her family members and her friends. Like, how obnoxious of the internet to think that you love strangers. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this is not the way you go about. Like, this is not how you use wisdom to care for people. You can be sad about it. You can mourn about it. You can feel devastated about a stranger dying. I've definitely cried for strangers that have died. But I would never put myself in the place of their family members and say, they didn't love you the way I loved you. Girl. You know what I mean? That is so inappropriate. Cry because you feel impacted. But don't pretend like you know this person. You know? Cry because it's sad. But don't act like you're the one person who's going to save Ariana. Like, Ariana's going to watch my video and it's going to save her. If you cared about people, start working with movements, start working with psychologists, start working with nonprofits. If you really care about girls suffering from eating disorders, start learning. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, the way people have these conversations. So yeah, it's a balance. This is why we do introspection, our relationship with self, and extrospection, our relationship with everything outside of ourself. And then we find a balance between us as the individual and us as a community member. So, you know, if we have people in our lives that are suffering from eating disorders or addiction or anything else, which I'm sure we all do, okay, I have lots of people in my life, we are available, we have boundaries, and we're constantly renegotiating those boundaries and availability. And then we hope for the best. People will die. They will die early. They will die when we're not ready. So many parents have walked into their child's room to find them dead from hanging, shotgun, pills. You must be ready for people to die because it could happen tomorrow, could happen today. The point is, though, you cannot turn around and make it about you, even though it's going to be partially about you in the sense that you love this person and you're connected to them. But we should honor the dead by recognizing how much they were suffering while they were alive. And while recognizing that they were suffering so much, they left early. And we should ask ourselves, what makes people take their lives? What makes people so depressed that they self-medicate? What makes the world such a horrible place that 100 plus Sudanese women suicided instead of being captured and raped by a group of men? That happened a couple years ago. We're literally living as animals on the planet full of 8 billion people, and we are suffering so immensely. The world is a suffering place, and your sole focus is one single person who obviously has the means and a community to focus all of your energy and time and your brand and on this one person who in every way needs help and in no way needs your help. So many people are screaming. So many women are screaming for help. They're begging you for attention, and you're giving one person the attention, and you're not even giving resources at the end. You're not even talking about communities. You're not even giving a hopeful message at the end that you are more than your body and more than your illness or sickness. You are so much more than this, and you are loved, and it is unconditional, and you do not have to be healthy for me to love you. My love is not conditional. It's unconditional. I love you no matter how sick you get. No matter the destruction you cause, I love you. And still we are open with boundaries. The thing is, though, we live in a society where love is conditional. And a lot of people grow up in households that tell you you're unlovable unless you're skinny. And so the irony is, okay, Ariana feels loved because she's skinny. Maybe. These people go on the internet and talk about how much they don't love Ariana because she's skinny. It's very confusing. Would you love her if she was fat? Would you love her if she was dead? Would you decide she was, what would you say after she died? I told you so? Would you say, oh my gosh, if only Ariana had the help? Well, how are you helping then? My love is unconditional. My support is unconditional, but I'm still open with boundaries. Maybe I'm not the best person to help you. Maybe somebody else is, but I don't want to live in a world where we're abandoning Ariana because she has an eating disorder, or we're banning anybody because they're sick or addicted. That's why a lot of unhoused people, especially from a conservative perspective, are seen as not helpable and not worth it because they think they're addicts. Oh, they're addicts. Who needs to help them? Oh, they're homeless for a reason. They chose it. And I'm saying every person deserves housing. All people deserve food and water. And it doesn't matter if you're addicted. You deserve to be dignified. So don't fall for these conservative dog whistles and these traps, because that's what I'm hearing from a lot of these people, is you're treating Ariana the way conservatives treat everybody else. Don't do that. It's so unnecessary.